Good morning. Today is Thursday, September 19th. This is Wake Up with KERA News. Hi there, I'm Andrew Garcia. Temps are set to reach the high 90s today, but lows will be in the mid 70s. This Thursday is chock full of news, including more on why the UNT Health Sciences Center ended their body donation program. But first, let's get into today's news. Yesterday, people in Lebanon attended funerals for a dozen people killed by exploding pagers targeting Hezbollah. More electronic devices blew up and claimed more lives the following day. The devices included walkie-talkies, solar equipment, and other devices. The Lebanese Health Ministry says 20 people were killed and 450 more were injured by Wednesday's attacks. Parents in Fort Worth ISD are split about whether the superintendent should stay or go. School board trustees met on Tuesday in a special meeting to talk about the superintendent's performance, but no action was taken. Some parents blame the superintendent for stagnant district performance and tension with the school board, while other parents find fault with the school board's oversight. For years, unclaimed bodies from the Dallas-Fort Worth area have been sold off and used for training or research, without their consent or that of their surviving family. A new NBC News investigation found more than 2,300 people's bodies have been given to the University of North Texas Health Science Center since 2019. Mike Hicksonbaugh is one of the reporters who broke this story and joined KERA's Becca Moore to tell us more about it.
Can you start by telling us what exactly the agreement was between the Dallas and Tarrant County medical examiners and the UNT Health Science Center?
Sure. Officials billed this as a win-win for everybody, for taxpayers and for the community. Dallas and Tarrant counties, like all major counties, bear the considerable cost of having to bury or cremate the bodies of those who either don't have families or their families don't have money to claim them and give them a funeral. And so the Health Science Center came up with this proposal and approached the counties. And the deal was, rather than the counties spending $500,000 a year each to deal with this, they would just give those bodies to the medical school, which would then use them to train students and to train future doctors and other healthcare professionals.
And when we say unclaimed bodies, some of these deceased still had family looking for them, right?
Yeah, that's what got us going on this story. My colleague John Schuppe and I and Susan Carroll, we had done reporting last year that really found this idea of an unclaimed person is a little bit misleading. All across the country, medical examiners and coroners often fall short of their duty to try to locate and reach people's next of kin after they die. And so we found examples of people being buried in paupers' fields in Mississippi and all over the country because of that failure. And so when we found out that Dallas and Tarrant counties and other outlying counties in North Texas had taken another step of not just burying or cremating these folks, but giving them to science without anyone's consent, we had a hunch going in that we would be able to find families who didn't know. And that proved out. We found a dozen, and we're hearing from more, of families who said, yeah, I was estranged from my loved one, or, he suffered a severe mental illness and drug addiction, and so it was hard to stay in touch, but we loved him and we wanted to bury him. We wanted to have a funeral. And so lots of folks were traumatized. These are hard phone calls. Like John Schuppe, my colleague, and I were making these calls and in some cases delivering the news that their loved one was dead. And then on top of that they had, been used for training or dissected and shipped all over the country without their knowledge.
What exactly were these bodies used for? Who was purchasing them? What happened to them after they were sold off and shipped off?
Some of the bodies were embalmed and used in the way that the medical school and the university advertised. They were used to train their medical students. We did dozens of records requests, and we got the financial records and the shipping records, the body use reports. And what we found was that was just a small piece of what they were doing. They had the flow of unclaimed bodies gave them a huge surplus above what the school needed to train their own students and to do their own research. And so many of the bodies were being leased out and sent to entities like the Army to train physicians. Some were sent to National Bioskills laboratories to train physicians on surgical techniques in Pittsburgh and in California and in Florida. Medical device makers, including some of the nation's biggest medical device makers, were using the bodies to train physicians to use their products. And so in a sense, these bodies were a commodity in the medical industry to try to move a product along or to get doctors to use it. And that's not something that the Health Science Center had ever really advertised. The county's officials had no idea this was happening. And on the other end, the Army and these other companies were surprised to learn from us that they were getting unclaimed bodies. They assumed that the bodies had been consented donors, and nobody communicated that to anybody.
Do we know what the university was doing with the money that it was making off of this practice?
Well, what we can say is that as the flow of bodies dramatically increased, the Health Science Center was at the same time investing in its laboratory space, investing in its own bioskills laboratory. This is a space where they would instead of shipping bodies elsewhere, they would charge companies tens of thousands of dollars to use their facility and to use what they had advertised as cadavers of the highest quality found anywhere in the country. And so, I've seen emails where university officials were celebrating a few years ago how this program had quadrupled the revenue in recent years, and we're doing more trainings than ever. And so this was a growth engine. The bodies that they were receiving were driving growth within the university.
How are the families that you've spoken to, how are they coping with this news and trying to move forward after learning about this?
I think some of them are channeling their heartbreak and their anger into trying to create change. And so, that's why they're talking to us. But some of the folks, including Victor Honey's family, told us they wanted to tell his story to, one, give him a voice, to speak for him. And they hope that this doesn't happen to other people like them going forward.
That was Mike Hicksonbaugh with NBC News, speaking with KERA's Becca Moore. The Texas Rangers play their final game against the Blue Jays this evening. They came out victorious in last night's game with the score of 2-0. And the Dallas Wings take on the Las Vegas Aces this evening in Vegas for their last game of the season. Tonight at the Kimball Art Museum, enjoy a Clyburn concert featuring pianist Joyce Yang, known for her agility and imaginative performances. For more information and for other fun things to do, visit kera.org/calendar. Thank you so much for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. The show was produced and edited by Shardae White and Becca Moore. For more news in your inbox, visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter. That's written by our colleague Catherine Hobbs. I think you'll like it. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at KERATX, and we'll see you tomorrow.